Hi everyone, welcome back. This is a fun segment. We're going from Whitehorse to Watson Lake in the Yukon, and we're going to play it at 8 times the speed here. And good news is the camera mount worked. There's what the route looks like, and here we are taking off from Whitehorse. Runway 14, so it's pretty much a straight out departure. And right off to the left there you can see the dam down in the left corner now. That's the Yukon River. It's the headwaters of the Yukon right here at Whitehorse. And the weather looked wonderful, at least the forecast was great, all the way down to Prince George. So on this leg, we're just going to take you to Watson Lake, and then on the next segment, we'll go from Watson Lake down to Prince George. So a lot of pretty scenery along this portion. We're again following the Alaska Highway from here to Watson Lake. And we go through some pretty nice mountain passes and some real pretty lakes. Make a turn here, and one of the first lakes that's going to come up is called Marsh Lake. I'll try and not talk through this whole thing so you can sit back and enjoy the scenery. I know I'm enjoying watching it myself again as I'm talking to you. You can see here as we depart Whitehorse and headed southeast, lots of signs of civilization, farmland, roads. It's not quite as desolate as it's going to get. So right up ahead there, that little island kind of in the middle, is Marsh Lake. Look how calm it was. The scenery, the reflection from the clouds in the water is just stunning. So right here, the Alaska Highway tends to move a little more inland, and that little lake there that you're seeing up ahead, right about the top middle of the screen, is Little Atlin Lake. And right about the time we get to Little Atlin Lake, we're going to make a left turn right down a valley. So these mountain peaks here are all about 5,000 to 6,000 feet in this area. And we're running about 1,000 to 2,000 feet over the ground here. This is called Jake's Corner right here, this little town where we're making this turn. And now we're going to go up the Little Atlin Creek right along the Alaska Highway there. There's a nice little pass up ahead. You need 2,800 feet altitude there above sea level to get through this particular area. Unlike some of the other legs where the mountain peaks were obscured with clouds, this was just a wonderful day trip for us along this leg. This is Johnson's Crossing here, that bridge that you're seeing going right across the river. And this is now Teslin Lake. It's a nice long lake. It's about a 65 nautical mile long lake, actually. Really pretty. Probably noticed, but we're seeing fewer and fewer signs of civilization now. But we are going to be coming up on the town of Teslin here in a bit. And I think you had some interesting facts on this bridge, if I'm not mistaken, Carol.
So the bridge coming up in Teslin is across the Teslin River, and it's the only original steel bridge on the southern Yukon stretch of the Alaskan Highway.
Wow. So there is an airport down here at Teslin, and for the pilots, it's a mandatory reporting area. And sure enough, you make your report, and somebody comes back on the radio to give you the weather and a nice, friendly good morning. So here we are, right about the top middle portion of the screen now. You'll be seeing the Teslin Airport, and just past that, the town of Teslin, and then the bridge that Carol talked about. Right there's a good snapshot of the airport. There's what it looks like on the sectional. There's what it looks like on the GPS navigator. And there's the town of Teslin and the bridge. Not much traffic on the Alaska Highway, Again, we did see some motorcyclists. This is the town of Morley coming up, and that's Morley Lake there off to the left. That lake you're seeing coming up right along the river here now in the top center right side of the screen is called Swan Lake. So just past Swan Lake now, the terrain actually starts to get a little higher. There's a pass coming up here that's at 3,300 feet above sea level. It's the Pine Lake area, and we should have a view of the Pine Lake airport there for you as well. We got down a little lower here just to sightsee some. We're between 500 and 1,000 feet along this leg above the ground. There's Pine Lake Airport, and there's a good view of it. It's a grass gravel kind of runway. There's the pass we're going to go through. You can see the 3,300 mark there on the sectional showing the elevation of the pass, and there's what it looks like in terrain mode on the GPS navigator. You can see all the red. Those are hills left and right of us. So as long as you stay along the highway, you're okay. If the clouds were to come down, you just follow that highway, and if necessary, you can land on the highway. Cars have the right of way, but it is the world's longest runway. There's a little town of Rancheria. That little thing that you're seeing on the left side of the screen intruding every once in a while is the pitot tube on the airplane. It's underneath the wing that measures our airspeed. The camera is a little bit shaking in the mount and picking it up every once in a while. You can see how marshy it is along this route. It's kind of tundra-like here. The trees aren't real tall. The ground's real marshy and mushy. There we are. We're through at least one half of the Rockies, the highest part there. So we're kind of out of any concerns now for mountain peaks. It's pretty flat here all the rest of the way to Watson Lake. Again, we're just following the Alaska Highway here. There's a lot of history at Watson Lake, and we sat there, we got fuel. There's a flight service station. Gentleman was super friendly. And you go into the terminal there. There used to be scheduled air carrier service in the Watson Lake, but a lot of history when all these routes were first being mapped. Early aviation, and lots of pictures on the wall. You could spend all day there just reading the history. And so we got a little special segment at the end of this where I gave you a little inside tour there of the terminal. It's worth watching. It looks kind of flat here, but the reality is the ground is between about 2,300 and 3,300 feet above sea level. So we're kind of off the path here of the Alaskan Highway a little bit, and we're headed directly towards Watson Lake at this time. There's Watson Lake coming into view. In the top, almost direct center of the screen, you can see the runway there. We're going to fly a little bit past it and then on a downwind and turn around and land. It's real pretty up here. Watson Lake is just real scenic and quiet. There's what the approach looks like. There's the airport. And here we are landing. I know it looks fast. We're at 8 times speed. Runway 27. So, and here's the video inside the terminal coming up. Hi everyone. Here we are at Watson Lake, which is right on the Alaskan Highway. It's the first stop after leaving Whitehorse, which we did this morning. So we follow the Alaskan Highway down to here, and unfortunately this is where it splits now. The Alaskan Highway continues on east into Fort Nelson. There's fires over that way, so we're going to go back down the trench to Prince George. The weather looks great today. It's really lucked out here. It looks a lot better than our trip up a week ago. Not so many low clouds today. A little bumpy. Winds have picked up a little bit. But Watson Lake, a lot of history here. It's, again, it's on the Alaskan Highway, which was was really built for World War II. And pretty neat, a lot of history. You look around, you see how hard it was for people up here. Here, I'm jealous of this airplane. There's a Waco. This gentleman up here was a well-known trapper. And this picture here is showing them lifting it out of the ice. You can see it's on float, so they lift it out of the ice when winter got here and put it on skis. Can't imagine how cold it was up here back then. But anyway, we're having a lot of fun so far. The trip's going very well, and we've got about a little less than 3-hour leg now down to Prince George. And we'll talk to you when we get there.